new.
I'm going to conclude things by just bringing up that the military is breaking down as we speak. The average Army service member has deployed a minimum of 3 times. Most soldiers we talk to are 3, 4, 5 deployments. Most of these service members are already diagnosed with some type of issue. A lot of them don't even realize that they can get help for those issues. Because in the military, pain is weakness leaving the body. Unfortunately, we're human beings. And whether it's sexual assault, or bullets, bodies, these things stay in our minds. And it's something that we have to deal with and remember and come to terms with. And without that space, the military is eating itself alive. For over the last 3 years, there's been more suicides in the military than there have been combat deaths. When Operation Recovery was launched last October 7th, at the same anniversary of the 9-year anniversary of the Afghanistan occupation, we got a phone call at Iraq Veterans Against the War from a father who was in desperate need to help his son, who is home on leave currently at that time, but was seeking serious help because he had just been blown up in Afghanistan. He was a member of the 101st Airborne, and on his leave, he realized that he was dealing with some serious issues, not only traumatic brain injury, but post-traumatic stress disorder. His wife brought him to an emergency room where he's diagnosed by 3 doctors with post-traumatic stress disorder. And they were going to scan him for traumatic brain injury and had set up tests for that. However, he told his unit all of this, and his commander said, "I don't care. You get back on that plane, and you're going to be back in Afghanistan." His wife took him in, and they actually drove across the country. And he didn't go over. He didn't get on the plane. And he turned himself in on Veterans Day of last year. The reality is, a lot of service members are seeking their right to heal. That is where a lot of the resistance movement has come from within the military. The service members that can't deal with it, or their spouses that say, "You cannot do another deployment," as of what happened last summer at Fort Hood, when a spouse had to walk up to a company commander and tell that company commander in front of his company formation that he wasn't deploying her husband because he could barely stand up straight. Because he couldn't take care of his children, he couldn't take care of his family, and he couldn't take care of himself, and she had been doing that. How is he going to go overseas and take care of his soldiers? Fact is, the military depends on these service members. The country doesn't believe in these wars. 75% of the country is opposed to both of the occupations, and yet we're still fighting them. And the only people that are carrying that burden right now are the service members that keep getting sent back to Iraq and Afghanistan and their family members. They have to deal with that wreckage when they come home. Because I know I only did a 15-month tour, and it changed my life forever. But I've seen some of these brothers that have gone home, and they're never coming back. You see, they're never going to be able to work a regular job again in their life. They're never going to be able to take care of their son or daughter. It's just a fact, a reality. And something our country needs to start coming to terms with. Especially if we're going to continue to fight these occupations. I understand that President Obama said he's bringing the service members home, but the reality is, at the end of that 2-year de-escalation period, there's still going to be more than double the service members that are in Afghanistan than when he started his presidency. There are still 55,000 service members in Iraq. The 1st Cavalry just deployed another brigade there last week. And they say we're leaving all service members are going to be gone by September. I'm not being fooled. Those service members that are going over there aren't being fooled. My unit, the 1244 Transportation Company that is over there currently, is not being fooled because we're living it. And we just need to reach out to your community, all communities, and let everyone know this is what's going on. Because together we can change the situation. Why will Operation Recovery work? What is this thing? An organizing campaign. And we work because that's what's historically worked. It'll work because in 1964, when 16 SNCC workers dove down into Mississippi, just 16 of them, ended up spurring on the Freedom Democratic Party of Mississippi that changed its politics forever. That's why it'll work. It's because every single day that they were in Mississippi, they went door knocking and they talked to their fellow brothers and sisters about what was going on and that they had rights. And that's what we're doing. We're going door to door. We're standing outside the PX. We're standing outside the gas station. We're going to talk to them in their homes. We're going to have beers with them. We're going to have coffee with them. Let them know that they have rights and they have a voice and they're not alone. And that's how we're getting in these wars. Because each of these service members that knows they have rights isn't a pawn anymore to this system. MLK, Martin Luther King, he said the three tenets were racism, militarism, and materialism. Well, let me tell you, all of these things exist within militarism and sexism. And we're working to change that because our society is moving down a path of continual militarization. The question is, when the DoD is the largest part of our budget as a country, and that doesn't include taking care of the service members. Ain't that the kicker? Right? I mean, that's how it's sold to us. This is about the troops. Support the troops, support the troops. And yet we don't get it done. And I'll tell you how we don't get it done. I'll tell you about the service member who was shot in Iraq, came home, was on medication, ran out of medication, took his wife's medication, and now he's getting discharged from the military because he took the wrong medication. That's a break of protocol. Instead of being treated like a war hero, he's a criminal. Because it's cheaper. I'll tell you about the trumpeter in the military. That is, every single day, all he does is funerals. 6 funerals a day, minimum. Every single day. These are the folks we're talking to. We're talking to the medics. And how they talk about the fact that no one's talking about the fact that all they saw in their ER rooms, or most of what they saw in their ER rooms on their deployment, was service members that were trying to commit suicide. And that's why we're standing up and fighting for our right to heal. This is the right that everyone should have. But unfortunately, like all rights, they're never given. They're always fought for. Thank you for your time.
New.